Cindy asks, I feel like nowadays there isn't much audio jobs posted for juniors, both in games and post production. What advice would you give as to where and how to find gigs when you're beginning? The big question, the
I think
question that hangs around all the time. Yeah.
I think that a lot of jobs are just found through connections with other people. I don't want to say networking because that's such a, that's a word that everybody hates, but I think, make friends with people who are making things and kind of get your foot in the door that way by working on projects and getting curious about what other people are working on.
Yeah, and
I
to
I
add to
just
that, it's kind of
oh
like
sorry,
playing
yeah.
the. Sorry, it's kind of like play. I also kind of hate to say this because it's like you're trying to find a job and it's like a little time dependent, but it is a little bit of playing the long game and like making those connections often and usually does like help out in the future, even if not immediately. So um, that is like a really important thing to do. Like I said, when I first started, I got some of my first gigs off of Twitter, but I don't know if that's a thing anymore because of what it is now. But that said, it was just me trying to make the connections and having those connections kind of like bounce off gigs from one person to another. And, you know, unfortunately, that's not a very easy answer. Like, go find some people to talk to. But yeah, that's the way it worked for me, at least the best, because the like submission of your resume through companies just gets lost forever and ever. I don't know.
How does the transition work? Like, can you give us a real life experience if you can? Like, so you meet someone, you're like kicking, hanging out, let's have, be friends, awesome. And then later on, just this person kind of randomly says like, yo, Anne-Marie, we have an opening and we'd love to work with you, you know?
Uh, for me, especially when I was freelancing, I was going to a lot of meetups and events and socials where, there were game audio or game devs hanging out, or like TV writers or film industry people. And I would just go and connect with, everybody and start making friends that way. Just ask them what they were working on, if they needed help or whatever. And then over time, you start just building um, connect like a roster of people, and you go to these events regularly and you see the same people, and then you kind of get on their radar, and you just can keep in communication that way, and then eventually hopefully something will come out of that.
Right. How about you, Dan? Like you must be a master of making connections and getting gigs.
Uh,
Tell us your
I, I,
secrets.
I wouldn't say I'm a master, but it's happened like a handful of times. So when it's happened, it's really happened. Um, oh yeah, if you're in London or in England or nearby, come to the Air Wiggles meetup on I think it's this Saturday, June the 15th.
Saturday in London.
That's a
Yes.
good time to plug that. But yeah, I've had two really big jobs come through from the Game Audio London scene. They do events sort of three times a year, usually 3 or 4 times a year. But I never went along to those with the intention of getting work. I was just going along to kind of meet people and hang out and sort of share stories or just learn what other people are up to. And the gigs I did get through that have taken like years to materialize in some cases. But it just it just happens that you'll get an email from someone who you met 5 years ago, and you've hung out with a couple of times, and they're like, oh yeah, I remembered that you're good at this thing, and there's a job that's kind of this thing, and I thought of you. Do you want to have a go? Um, so yeah, the handful of times that has happened, it's led to some really big things. I mean, that's how I got the job with Us Too, and I've been working with them for 5 years now. So like, that really panned out. Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
go meet people and don't be a dick and see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
That's not good short term advice though, like you're saying, Erin. Like if you need money quickly, that's not going to work. But
Gotcha,
that is
yeah.
kind of the long game. I think is just be around,
Mhm.
and the more you see people and the more you hang out with people, the more they'll remember you. And then when something does come up that you're perfect for, they'll give you a shout.
Yeah, for sure. Like your peers too, you know, like the longer you kind of stay and like get more experience, your peers will do that as
Yeah.
well. And like eventually they will, come back with like some pretty awesome gigs.